I guess you could say this is like the season 1 finale of Clear My Shelves. Hello, welcome back to my channel. So in 2023, I was on a mission to read as many books from my physical TBR as I possibly could, and I decided to do a series called Clear My Shelves, where I read about 5 books at a time that all had a similar theme, and I slowly whittled away at my physical TBR. And I started 2023 with 145 books, and I was on a journey all year long trying to read as many books as I could with as many themes as I could, and I got pretty far. My goal was to get under 80 books. My stretch goal was to get under 60 books, and my like unrealistic goal was to get it to 0. And I kept a spreadsheet the entire time, tracking books that came in, tracking books that came out, and somewhere along the lines I had messed up, and I don't know where. So my numbers are not necessarily accurate, but I'm gonna tell you where it all ended up going into season 2 of Clear My Shelves. So if my notes are correct, the last Clear My Shelves video that I gave you a number that I ended on, we ended at 81 books on my physical TBR. And I just put out a video on Tuesday where I showed you all the footage where I had read books that I hadn't talked about or hadn't put in videos, and I didn't give you a number at the very end of that one. So looking at my notes, I believe we should have ended around 67 books. There were 3 books that I did not mention in that video because I had put out videos for them, and that was my Stormlight Archive reaction series. So those were 3 additional books that I did clear off my shelf. I just didn't include in my numbers, so that should bring us down to 64 books. And since we are getting numbers out of the way, in this video I read 5 more books, and that should theoretically bring us down to 59 books to start the year, which means I should have reached my stretch goal. But between my unhaul video and this current moment that I am sitting at, I hauled 15 books, which bumped us all the way back up to 74 books, okay? That's where we should be starting 2024, right? Wrong. I don't know what happened. I don't know where I've missed some books, but when I had calculated all of the books that were on my physical TBR at the very beginning of this year, we had 78 books. So 4 books have gone missing, or maybe I just never added them. I'm sure there are more on that shelf that also have not made it onto my TBR. And then I found a couple that were missing as well, and it went up to 80 books. And then all along I have forgotten about a shelf that I call my no rush shelf that has classics on there, which has 11 books on it. So that's 91 books. So I might have to come back to you at the very beginning of season 2 of Clear My Shelves and let you know an actual validated number that we are going to start 2024 off with, but it is between 78 and 91. That's all I can give you. That's all I can give you for this series finale. And I'm so sorry about it, but we're gonna pretend that it's 59 because that's what my spreadsheet said. Is that okay? I hope that's okay. I hope you enjoy these last couple clips of me reading classics for my 12 and 12 challenge. I'll see you at the end. It's been weeks since I've finished Peter Pan, and I really don't have much to say about this one besides I didn't love it. It was a super fast read. I think the audiobook was only 5 hours long, and it went by really quick because I did listen to it at about 2 times speed, but I just did not enjoy this very much. I felt like it was strange. It was very racist, and Peter Pan is the creepiest child I have ever read of in my entire life, and if I had to be near him, I would be terrified. Like, he is the child of nightmares. He is just so creepy. The way he speaks, the things that he says, the things that he does to the other kids, it's just creepy. So, not a big fan of this. The Disney movie is much better. Still not great, but better. I feel like the Peter Pan in the media that I have seen that got it right was the Peter Pan in Once Upon a Time because he was so evil and scary. So not the biggest fan of this book. Still love this edition that I have of it though, so I will be keeping it even though I think I gave this 2 stars. It was just odd. It was just so odd. And I'm pretty sure at one point in the audiobook I was listening to at work, I heard the word orgy and I like paused but I didn't have the book in front of me to go back and see if that was right, but I think it talks about a fairy orgy at some point. And then at the very, 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 very end, this is spoilers for anybody who hasn't read Peter Pan doesn't even remember Tinkerbell. Like, things happen so quickly and time moves so fast in Neverland that he just completely forgets Tinkerbell after like a year or two. And it seems so strange just because she's such an icon in Disney that I don't know, it's weird. The whole every descendant of Wendy from then on goes to Neverland with him. It's an odd story. Not a fan. So hopefully the next classic will be better. It should be, because it's a mystery and I feel like that one's a pretty iconic one. So let's get into that one. Okay, we have finished And Then There Were None. I read it in a couple of hours today and it's an easy read. It was intriguing, but I didn't love it. I think I'm settling on about a 3-star for this one. It was, I think the best way I could describe it is it was dry. I really like my stories where I can connect to the characters. I am a character person, not so much a plot mystery type of person. So the mystery was intriguing because it's based on these 10 people who are stuck on an island and they're all there under false pretenses. Like, they all got job offers of some sort or letters and other incentives to come to this island and stay there for like a week or so, or indefinitely. I don't remember the reason why some of them were there, but they all show up on this island and then slowly, one by one, each of them ends up dying. And they're dying along to a poem called And Then There Were None by Frank Green. I'm not sure if that's a real author or a fictitious author, but it's like right at the very beginning and they're all dying in a similar way to that poem. And so the plot is interesting. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing how each character ended up meeting their demise, like the song or poem, whatever it was, but it was just dry. I didn't love the characters. I didn't really care about what happened to any of them by the end of it, so it was just a decent time. It wasn't a great time, and the reveal at the very, very end, I wasn't shocked by it, but I also wasn't expecting it either. I was just kind of like there, you know, I was vibing the whole time. So I might read more Agatha Christie, but it's not at the top of my priority list, but it was a good time. Okay, hello. So it is the end of September and I was panicking that I was not going to be able to get a classic read in the month, especially because I was planning to read The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And I knew it wasn't gonna happen because the audiobook was 22 hours and I had 3 other books that I had to read by the end of the week. And so I knew I was gonna run out of time. So I Googled the shortest classics and it brought up the Yellow Wallpaper, which is, in this edition, 15 pages. So I said I could handle that. And it might feel a little cheaty, because it kind of is a little cheaty, but I read the Yellow Wallpaper for September. I just got overwhelmed. Work has just been draining me. I also tore something in my rotator cuff in my right shoulder, and I've been in physical therapy so often this month. I have gone already like between 6 to 8 times, and I just don't have time and or energy to read when I get home after work and everything. So a 15-page classic had to do, and it was fine. I was reading it kind of just by lamplight, and I was getting a little creeped out, but not like to the point where I was actually scared. So basically this one is about, if you don't already know, a woman who has been diagnosed by her physician husband in the late 1800s as having depression and hysteria, and so they move to a cottage ranch house sort of thing, and they are living in one of the rooms upstairs, which was a former nursery that has yellow wallpaper. And when her husband is away at work, he kind of just keeps her locked up in that room, and she is so mesmerized and a little bit obsessive with this wallpaper, and it gets to the point where she believes that she starts to see things, which is very creepy. It's very strange. The language in this is really descriptive, really atmospheric. It makes you kind of wonder like what you could see in this wallpaper. Like I was really trying to figure out what the heck this wallpaper could actually look like and how creepy that would be, and it was really just the descriptive wording that made this so creepy, because it wasn't like the wallpaper was just crumbling and dusty. It was like revolting, smelly, oozing, you know, it was just doing all of these nasty things in her mind that made it so creepy. And then the very end was strange. I have a lot of questions about it, so this might be one that I have to reread a couple of times to get more out of it, but it was creepy and it counts as a classic that I've read in September. But for The Secret History, I am bumping that to November because I hadn't had anything on my plans for November anyway, so I will read that then. I know that this kind of feels like I didn't give it a fair go of classics, but I ran out of time, okay? We just gotta work with what we can. Let's move on to October's classic of the month, which is going to be The Haunting of Hill House. This was a classic with lesbians. I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming whatsoever. And I know it wasn't like explicitly written. It wasn't thrown in your face. It was like very, if you know, you know. But these girls were lesbians and I loved it. I was so happy that that was an aspect to this, because I know that a lot of people love this book. So I don't know, because I didn't know anything going into it. I hadn't heard that that was something that was in this. Made me really excited. But the book itself, did I love it? I don't know. It wasn't the worst, it wasn't the best. It kind of reminded me of the way I felt when I was reading the Yellow Wallpaper. It just was a vibe, but the plot wasn't great. The characters were okay. I didn't really care what happened to them either way, but it did also still feel a little bit like a movie in my head. So it was descriptive enough that I felt like I was in it, but I wasn't in it. You know, I'm very tired. I haven't been able to film anything for weeks, so if I am rambling incoherently, I'm so sorry. If you don't know what this book is about, let's start there. This is a haunted house story where there's this doctor who is not quite certain if he believes that this house is haunted, so he wants to bring in some people as a sort of science experiment and see if they experience anything. So we have Theodora as one and Eleanor as the other, and Eleanor is our main character who we hear the story through. And this doctor brings them both into this haunted house because they both possess some sort of paranormal ability in their past, and he figures that they would be perfect for this role. Eleanor is kind of like the black sheep of her family. She has a twin sister that she doesn't quite get along with. She feels like her life just kind of isn't really going anywhere, so this is like a perfect opportunity for her to try something new with her life. And I guess Theodora was in a sticky situation with a former roommate and needs to escape from that. So they're both in this house with the doctor and the person who's going to inherit the house too, to figure out if there are creepy things that are happening in this house. Okay, I hope that was a decent summary. The creepy things start to happen, and Eleanor is kind of the one who is taking the brunt of it, and it's interesting. The ending, I can't say that I didn't see it coming, but I liked it. I don't know, it was strange, but it was an easier read than I expected, and it had lesbians, which is so fun, you know, like a queer little classic. I think this is the part of the video that's gonna get me canceled because I read The Secret History and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was just not good. Were there good parts to it? Yes. Was the writing well done? Yes. If I had to read this in school and had to annotate it, would I have things that I could mark down? Yes. But did I like this book? No. It was so long and these characters were insufferable. Oh my god. Oh my god, they were so insufferable. I thought the Atlas 6 characters were annoying. I missed them as I was reading this book because these characters were so horrible as people, and maybe that's the point. Maybe we were supposed to not like them, but I feel like what I know about The Secret History is people love these characters and like want to emulate these characters. That's what I've experienced in being on BookTube and watching videos about people talking about their love for this book. I thought that there would be some characters that I would be drawn to, but no, these characters were a mess. They were a mess and they were bad people, Yes, that's technically the plot, because essentially what this book is about is a group of college students who commit a murder and then try to not get caught for committing the murder. And I feel like that's not a spoiler because it happens very soon in the book. And I think within the first chapter, actually, you learn that they have killed somebody. And then we're just following a bunch of murderers in the aftermath of them murdering somebody. And I didn't care. I think that just tells me that I am not a dark academia girly, because I also don't love that stuff in the Atlas series, but I do like those characters significantly more after reading this book. And I appreciate the whole Atlas series significantly more after reading this book, because this was days of my life I will not get back. It is what it is. I can say that I have read The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and it was not my favorite. But if it's yours, then it's yours. And that is the power of literature and how we can all connect to something differently and appreciate things in different ways, because this was not it for me, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But I didn't like these characters. They were so bad. They were so bad. But anyway, I have one more book to talk about in this series, and you will see me in this exact outfit right now. I have officially read Alice in Wonderland, and you know, I don't think I remember any details about it besides the things that I've seen in all of the adaptations. So this was the last book for this 12 and 12 challenge that I was trying to do this year, and I read this on literally the last day of 2023. Oopsie. But it was fun. The first like 40 pages I was really into it. I was having a lot of fun getting into the story and hearing the details that aren't included in the other adaptations, like the movies and movies. What other adaptations am I thinking of? Just like, I don't know if there are any. You know, the movies that I've seen. I don't remember Alice having a sister in any of the movies. I don't remember the movies going into all that happens when she gets to the like eat me, drink me scene, and there was a lot more in that. There's a lot more detail on other characters that she meets, which was really fun. But it just started getting to the like weird territory where I was no longer following along. Maybe because I was listening to the book a little bit too fast. I had the audiobook and I was following along, but then yeah, it just got a little strange, and I think I need to slow down when I read it again, because I definitely will be reading this again. I want to read Alice in Wonderland and then go through the Looking Glass, because I can't find the audiobook anywhere through my library app, and I'm not sure if it's available anywhere, if there are audiobooks for it. I assume there are, but I want to continue on and see that part too, just because it's a quick, easy story and it's really beloved, and I wasn't disliking it, I just got confused. So I am glad that I was able to mark this off my list, but I think the next time I come back to it, I really need to focus more on reading it. But with this one, we have completed our 12 and 12 challenge for the year. So are we at 59 books? I don't know, but we're gonna pretend like we are until I go through and count all of my books. I think that sounds like a better plan. But season 2 of Clear My Shelves will come out sometime this year. Until then, I will be seeing you on Tuesday for my next video. Alrighty, bye.